Okay, and we're live. So welcome to Puckin Awesome. I am Cassie, and I'm joined by...
I'm Terry.
And I'm Cora.
Our other two are missing in action again, so if they show up, they show up. We don't have any games tonight, so no scores. You want to just jump right into the finals?
Well, isn't there, we can just state that there is the Stars and Marlies tonight, isn't there?
Texas Stars and Toronto Marlies.
That is true.
So
and the Stars are leading the series 3-2. If they win, they will go on to the finals. And I'm just gonna pretend like when I say that I mean the Dallas Stars. It makes me feel better. But it's the Texas Stars, the AHL affiliate of the Dallas Stars.
yeah, I'm cheering for the baby Leafs, but who knows? I'm used to it, so I can go either way.
Yeah, and according to the AHL website, Toronto was up 1-0 in the second, but their website's a little weird.
They have a terrible website. I tried to go looking for scores, and it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
It is. You know who also has a horrible website? And I only say that it's horrible because it's almost like it was from 2003 and it's 2014. Is TSM.
Yeah,
It's like
I
so
just want
good.
them to make their videos available in the U.S. That's all I want.
Well, their videos aren't really available to people in Canada either because of that whole Bell thing.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll start talking about the final, right?
Yeah, so...
Predictions.
I want the Rangers to win it.
Yeah, me too. I want Happy Henrik.
I think Henrik Lundqvist is swinging this to like a fan favor to the Rangers. Everyone but Kings fans want to see him happy.
Yeah. And some Flyer fans, they're kind of...
Yeah, some of them. I feel there's like a lot of animosity in the West that's kind of rooting against the Kings. If there are people going for the Kings, they're from the East that really hate the Rangers. I mean, that's pretty much what I say.
Yeah. It's also the Kings' first Stanley Cup final, so...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You want to think about how he can handle it mentally.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like he's never been in big games, you know?
It's not like he doesn't have a gold medal from the Olympics or anything.
I mean...
Or silver.
He'll be fine. I don't think mentally it's going to get him. I think maybe game one, but, you know, he plays on a big stage already. He was great in most of the games in the conference final.
Yep.
And by the way, the Toronto Marlies just scored, so it's 2-0.
Give me this.
No.
Oh, man. No, I would really, somehow, if he wins, or the Rangers win, I really want him to be on Jimmy Fallon with the cup playing the guitar in some capacity, where it's all like somebody's maybe playing the cup as percussion while he's playing guitar. I really want like something to do with him playing guitar again. Just, with something to do with the cup, because it would just make me feel better. Well, at that point, better than he already won.
So, we all want the Rangers to win. Do we think the Rangers can win?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we think it's likely?
I can say this. If it was another team from the Western Conference, I'd be a little bit more sure of the Rangers winning. And now, because of the way the Kings have played, because I think they're truly frightening.
Yes.
I'm really glad I'm not in the conference with them, but
yeah.
Now it's more like I'm really just at 50% either way, because I would say both have pretty decent defense. I'm not a really good judge on defense. Really have excellent. What?
You watch Eastern Conference teams.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
what I was thinking. I'm sorry, I just want to add this little wrinkle from the Stars Marlies game. I didn't really read the tweet about the score thoroughly, but this is from the Stars Insider Edge. Christopher Nilstrup gets called for roughing. Toronto scores on the power play. Nilstrup is the Texas Stars goalie. I'm really interested to see how he got called for roughing. But okay, sure. Anyway, I think the Kings are the favorite. I think they've gotten it done repeatedly this year when people thought they were done. But I don't think you can really count the Rangers out, and I hope the Rangers.
I think the Rangers have a lot of I don't want to. How do I say this? They have a really good mentality going in. It's more than just playing hockey, which the Kings also have. But I'm saying they have like a lot of, they haven't won the cup recently, unlike the Kings. They have all the issues with their players going in.
Yeah.
I think they kind of rally behind.
I think they have Lundqvist, who's been more solid these playoffs than Quick has. Like if you look at the playoffs as a whole.
Yeah. Do you guys think that the travel might be a problem at some point?
I mean, they both have to travel across the country.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, do you think we're going to see sluggish games?
Nah.
I think the only thing that could really be interesting is if they get minor injuries, because you kind of swell up on the plane.
Oh, that's, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they fly pretty much right after, don't they, usually a lot of times?
Yeah. I do think people put too much stock in the playoffs and travel because it's not like, okay, I get it in the regular season where it's a long road trip where you're going from city to city to city. But let's face it, they're getting on a plane for 6 hours. They're not driving across the country. They're not climbing on, they're getting on a plane, flying for 6 hours and playing.
True.
Is it ideal? No, but it's not a 3-week road trip where you're going from city to city to city to city.
Yeah, I was thinking just more the jet lag and stuff with the time zones.
Yeah, the time zone part does suck.
Well, and the only thing that really puts apart professional sports is the fact that they play so late.
Yeah.
And that is a definite problem, I guess, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
Out of these two teams, who do you think can get the Conn Smythe?
Well, can we do, okay, so it's kind of like for goalies, it's pretty easy to say that either Quick or Hank could get the Conn Smythe depending on who wins the series.
Right.
Go ahead.
My question is, if you remove Quick and Hank from it, who would be the players from either sides that you could see?
I actually don't see Quick winning it. He's been shaky. He's had brilliant games, don't get me wrong, but he's also had really shaky games. And I'm actually reading something right now by James Myrtle, the Toronto writer, and he's making a case if the Kings win it to Ans Kopitar. And that's kind of not, it's kind of hard to argue against. He's been really good.
Yeah, that would be a good option.
Isn't he also nominated for the I can't say it.
Selke? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm saying, Jeff Carter I know has had one hat trick. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
The playoffs. Has he only had one?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, hat tricks are kind of hard to come by in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking because he had one during the Olympics too. I thought that was pretty cool. But I was trying to think of who would be a forward on the Rangers who would have a possibility of getting it.
St. Louis? Possibly.
Maybe.
I think if the Rangers win, they're going to win because of Lundqvist and he'll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's if I mean Lundqvist may be able to make the argument to win it even if the Rangers lose.
God, yeah, I understand that, but I almost
Another
hope
sad
that.
Giggy 2.0.
Yeah, Sajigi, I can't that's. But I will never forget watching him skate out, and he's just like, "Why the fuck are you doing this to me? Why are you making me come back out? I just lost the Stanley Cup. I don't want this trophy."
We already know what he'd look like because we had Sweden getting the silver medal to do that.
Yeah. So I think, but I mean, I guess my overall prediction for the series is that the Kings will win. I very much hope the Rangers will win.
It's the more and more I watch of the Kings, the more frightening I could say, but the more I see it happening.
You're just never sure. Like, you're never like, okay, we got them beat, we're good. We can chill for this period. Nope. Never.
And they both have hilarious coaches. You have who sits there and his gums, you know, and then Sutter who chews the inside of his cheeks. And they both give very interesting post-game interviews from behind the bench. But then again, Pierre and company can do that to them.
Okay, speaking of Pierre.
Do we want to take a couple questions, or do we want to jump into him?
Yeah, if you have questions, let's go for it. Let's take some questions. No one was on.
They're tongue-in-cheek, but let's start with, does existence have meaning outside of that which we give it? From Ben.
Really? I'm not drunk. For that.
I'm not drunk enough for that question.
They don't think it be like it is, but it do.
All right, and the other question.
Get back to us on a pod. We'll do a drunk podcast one day. Get back to us then.
The other question was from him as well. Was what is better, Malbec or Merlot? I can't talk today. Words are hard.
Wait, what did you say?
I don't drink wine. However, I sell wine. And Malbec is certainly the trendy thing right now, and I can sell it really fucking easily. Oh, that's a Malbec, and it's really popular. I'll have a bottle. That's pretty much how it goes. So I'm going to go with Malbec.
It depends on what you're eating. I'm just going to go with that. It really just, wine should be paired with what your dinner is, or dessert.
Yeah, I don't, the very rare times that I do go out to eat, and somebody says, what do you like to drink? If it's not, like, a mixed drink, I'll be like, what's the wine you recommend? Because, like, I know, I literally have gone, like, the red wine that goes with this, and the white wine that goes with that. I just know white wine, fish, red wine, red meat. That's pretty much what I stick to. So.
That's pretty much what I know. When people ask me to recommend a dry wine or something to that effect, I say, hold on, I'll go talk to my bartender.
Are you buying?
That works. All right, so those are our only questions for now. Pierre is the front runner for the position, the GM position in Pittsburgh, and TSN has reported that he has had a second interview for that position.
Okay. First, let me just say, I don't know why people are freaking out as far as thinking Pierre has the knowledge, so I don't know. People seem to be freaking out like, oh, he won't know what to do. He won't know what he's doing. He does have a lot of hockey knowledge. However, where I get concerned is that what happened when he was in Hartford. He actually, after he got fired from Hartford, the Hartford Whalers, in case anybody forgets that that team used to exist, he was fined by the league half his remaining salary for giving the Oilers confidential coaching evaluations that he made while he was coaching the Whalers. That's a huge, huge black mark on a record, even if it's 20 years old. So because I knew that, I researched a little more about his tenure in Hartford, and I came across an article from the Hartford Courant, which is the paper in Hartford, and it's an article from May 21st, 1994, and this is, if you Google Pierre Maguire, Hartford, this is one of the first things that comes up. And this is what they say about him being fired. The headline is, Maguire's tenure a bad situation. Holmgren fired Pierre Maguire after 6 months. It was more than a good idea. It was justice. In 15 years of covering the NHL, we have never seen a coach so universally disrespected and disliked within his own organization.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's strong. Let's see. Pat Verbeek called Maguire's firing the best thing that could have happened to the Whalers. He said the other teams mocked their coach. He said his own teammates had no respect for Maguire. He said a number of players wouldn't have wanted to play in Hartford anymore. It goes on that he was too headstrong. While he had knowledge of X's and O's, he had no people skills. He was over. That was shocking, isn't it? You really can't tell.
I tweeted that article for anybody, so they can also take a look.
It says he was over-emotional. This part actually surprised me. When the hallway curtain opened after a loss in Boston, Maguire was found by the media wildly smashing sticks against the wall. When the door opened after a loss in Pittsburgh, Maguire was seen knocking furniture around the coach's room. They said he was full of himself. Many times he said privately after a game how he outcoached the other guy. But that was never really made public until May 3rd of 1994, when Maguire proclaimed that no coach in the NHL can outwit me. Mind you, this was his first head coaching position ever at any level. This was all 20 years ago.
Oh, man.
He was not a kid. He was 32. And you have to wonder how much growing he could have done. His only other experience as a coach since then. Now, he was an assistant coach for Pittsburgh in 91-92 when they won the Stanley Cup. But his only other experience as a coach since then has been with Ottawa. He was a scout, and then he was an assistant coach for the Senators for 2 months and a day before getting fired with the head coach and the goalie coach.
But that firing was more of them cleaning house in general, I believe.
Yes, that's what it sounded like to me.
Okay. So, I think it's obvious that his people skills have not really improved.
He's a close talker.
Yes, he is a
Like
close talker.
Seinfeld, but it's just made worse that it's all televised. And they
Yeah.
can't speak.
But he knows talent, and he knows scouting. I mean, that's how he knows everybody's Pee-wee team. So he'd be good at that, but I don't want him doing trades or handing out contracts if I was a Penguins fan.
I mean, the GM having people skills is kind of one of, like, a big thing for a GM, you know, because you have to be the one to convince free agents to come to you. You have to convince restricted free agents to stay with you.
It's more than that, it's like business. Does he have any like, business skills? There's a difference between coaching and GMing, because GMing is like business.
If he ends up not working out, is he going to give up your confidential information to the next place who wants to hire him? Because that's a bad like impression to make. You're going to do that. It's a bad precedent to set that you have done this in your lifetime.
I'm just more interested out of all that, because a lot of that I kind of felt like if you kind of watch him a bit, you could figure that out. But what he told the Oilers.
I'm sorry.
It really has. Well, it makes me wonder like what he told the Oilers.
It said all I could find was confidential coaching evaluations. So I would imagine he would say, this is what this player does. This is his weaknesses. This is what he said to me. That kind of stuff. Which would just make that player easier to play against.
Yeah.
It might not be something you can observe just from watching games, but it might be, and it might be the little thing that makes a difference. Oh, he told me once that he really hates playing against this guy, so we should match him up.
I just, I'd be worried. I mean, this is not a knock on his broadcasting skills or anything, but if he did that to a team previously, what's to say he'll do it again, even though it was 20 years ago.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You set that precedent of that being something you're willing to do. And it's not like you did it when you were 15 and didn't know better.
Well, that's why I kind of feel like what he's doing now is probably the best place for him, because he can't. I mean, he's not doing play-by-play, but he knows enough that he can be there and kind of keep the audience informed.
Yeah,
And he doesn't really get involved.
I'd much prefer him to take Mike Milbury's place, but like I think I would actually enjoy Pierre as an intermission analysis.
He'd be good with that. I mean, even if he was just a scout, that would be better. So, we have a bunch of questions now.
Well, all right.
We got questions, so where do we want to start? One of them... Okay, people keep talking, so I gotta... Who do you think will win the World Cup?
Win?
Yeah.
No.
I want to say either Brazil, maybe, because nobody really knows what this team is capable of as far as, like, by looking at their qualifying stuff, because they kind of did whatever the hell they wanted because they were all automatically qualified and seeded. Because they're the host country. For anyone who doesn't know, the World Cup is happening in Brazil. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe Germany, but I'm kind of just talking out of my ass. I've been so focused on how the U.S. can possibly get out of their group.
I'm cheering for Deutschland. But...
I don't...
No! Well, I guess we're not going to beat them. Can you cheer for them to tie us, please?
I mean...
Please? I'll still go through.
I'll cheer for the U.S., I just don't.
You realize we're in Germany's group.
Yes, I do.
Unpopular opinion, I'm not going to be watching the World Cup.
That's shameful.
I mean, I've always pretty much cheered since I've watched the World Cup for Germany and the U.S. I mean, I don't...
Okay, that's fine.
I'll cheer for England, too. How about that?
No. I don't care. What? No. Here's what's going to happen. So the order of the U.S. games are Ghana, who has knocked us out of the past 2 World Cups, then Portugal, who has Ronaldo, then Germany. However, Germany will most likely, by the time we play them, will most likely be guaranteed to go through the next round. So we need to beat Ghana, tie Portugal, and tie Germany. And have Germany beat everyone else.
Can
we
I
need
just say
Germany
something?
to not care by the time they play us. We need them to want us to go through as the other team and not Portugal, because we'll be easier to beat later on.
You want my response?
I'm not sure.
Feel glue.
I'm not gonna. I don't have cable, and I don't care for soccer, so.
Well, that's sad for you.
I know it's just not my thing. But.
Well, let's go to another question.
Yes.
Or we should say it football.
Chris Bryant attractiveness on a scale from 9.9 to 10. I don't even know what that is.
Hold on, Googling.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, apparently he plays baseball.
He's a baseball player, but I don't know what he looks like.
He's got a baby
Google
face.
images.
I'm doing a Google image search right now. We will see.
I'm pretty sure I have Tony Abbott out. I don't think that's a... It showed up...
Baseball is probably one of the most hit-or-miss sports as far as attractiveness goes.
Yeah.
And just in case you're... let me see. In case you are Googling it, it is spelled with a K-R-I-S, not C-H-R.
Oh, that's maybe why I'm getting like some type of labor person. Some type of politician.
I'm not gonna rank.
Oh, he's very attractive. Yes, he's very attractive.
How old is he? He looks very young.
22.
He's 20.
Oh God, he's younger than me.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's got those really cool eyes. Yeah, he's attractive.
Oh
And-
yeah.
And we have a follow-up question: is why will he lead the Cubs to a World Series win? I have no idea.
I was actually
The
just
Cubs?
going to say, I hope he's so attractive, I hope he gets to leave the Cubs so he can win a World Series. I'm sorry, Cubs fans. I know your pain. But it's the Cubs, so...
All right. A hockey sort of related question: how many stalls does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know. I feel like they'd all be trying to take all of them, and they still wouldn't do it, because one would go to do it, and another would check them. And the other would go to do it, and another one would check them until they ran out of stalls.
I feel like Jordan and Eric would fight over who could put in the light bulb, and then Mark would be, guys, but it's me, I can do light bulb too, and then Jared would just very quietly go behind everybody and screw it in. See, I can do it too, guys.
Alright. Who has the better spirit animal, Quick or Lundquist?
Huh?
What are the animals?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just we
I
just
feel
get
like
a.
that's a key question.
Well, whatever spirit animal Lundquist has made him incredibly attractive. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
A bull? Is that what attacks him in the advert?
It's a rhino.
Rhino. Rhino. It's rhino then. The spirit animal's a rhino.
I guess that works. Another question. Misfortune. All of the goalies are suddenly injured. Which head coach in the finals would you rather want in pads?
Sutter.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He takes no shit.
You know, at some point in games growing up, he got thrown in the goal.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
mean, that's,
And I want that post-game interview.
Oh, God, that would be awesome. No, I want the on-ice interview after he comes off and he's still in his pads.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I just took over. I did it before.
I saw the puck.
Any more questions?
No.
Okay. Josh wants to know, how are you killing time until next season?
Well, I'm endlessly thinking about who the Stars are going to trade. I'm trying not to puke while I think of that. And there's the World Cup again. I'm endlessly analyzing how the U.S. could get out of group, and I'm trying not to puke while thinking of that. And I'm watching the Rangers, the Texas Rangers, not the New York Rangers. I'm watching the Texas Rangers get injured one by one by one, and wondering why we didn't just get hit with a meteor and get it over with. That'll be my summer.
Okay, so I'm going to show how nerdy I am. I am going to be not using my right hand for about 3 weeks, playing lots of video games when I can use it, and watching hockey and trying to catch up on all of that, and watching for trades and, researching our draft picks and all that fun stuff. So, but mainly video games.
I guess I'm the only one that, once the cup is, awarded, I just totally remove hockey from my brain until, halfway through September. And then for the rest of the summer, I just do what I normally do, which is run, swim, sail. I spend a lot of time outdoors.
It depends for me. It depends on what kind of season the Stars have had and what we're getting ready to go into. This season, I'm going to be reading everything. 3 seasons ago, it was more like, oh, thank God that's over. I don't have to think about it anymore.
All right. This one is directed at one of you. Which is your favorite bike?
Oh, well, that would be directed at me.
Yes.
Okay, for those who don't know, I have 2 bikes. I have a commuter bike, which is the one I get around town on because I do not own a car. It's a Fuji, which is a brand, steel frame from the early 90s, and it's bright green and with pink decals and handlebar tape. And then I have a road bike, like a fancy road bike, that's a couple years old that I just got a couple months ago, and it's a BH, which is a Spanish brand, all carbon frame. Out of those two, the BH is considerably more valuable, and my favorite is the Fuji, which I refer to as my green monster, because it is indestructible until, the inevitable day when I get hit by a car, and so weirdly colored that I have people stop at stoplights and tell me they like my bike.
Nice.
So it's a lot of fun to ride. I love my BH, but my green monster is my favorite.
Right.
I miss biking.
It's so much fun. It really
I miss biking going places because in Europe it's a lot safer, and if I did that here, I'd probably be dead from the first day.
It's not as unsafe as people make it out to be. It really isn't. It's just that when you get hit by a car, it's bad.
Yeah.
Now that said, I know, this is going to make it sound dangerous again. I do know people who have been hit by cars, and none of them have been seriously injured. Because usually it's at a low speed. It's somebody backing out of a driveway. I had one friend, the guy was just being a jackass and passed him so close that the side mirror hit him in the back. But it is safer than you would imagine. I live in Kentucky. We're not the most progressive state, and I get screamed at a lot and honked at, and people buzz me, but in general, if you're smart enough, you won't get hit, often.
Yeah, see, I live downtown, and I live in a very interesting spot where it's one of the places where you can really go like 45 miles an hour or more and get away with it because of the way the roads are designed, and it scares me in a car. I've almost been hit walking and driving several times, and so that's why
I think the scariest that ever happened to me was a woman chased me in her SUV. I was on my road bike, which you can't take a road bike off the road, really. It doesn't ride well on grass or loose gravel. So I had to stay on the road, and she chased me for several blocks in her SUV, waving pepper spray out the window at me and screaming that she was only trying to help me. So that was scary.
That's an odd way to show help.
I thought so too. It's a convoluted story of she pulled up next to me, and when I say pulled up next to me, I mean I was in between her giant SUV and the curb, and if she had twitched the wheel a couple inches, she would have wrecked me into the curb and pinned me, and told me that I needed to be riding against traffic instead of with traffic.
You're supposed to ride with traffic.
You are supposed to ride with traffic. I told her that was incorrect. She would not then leave. She kept right along, which, from the perspective of being on a bicycle, that is absolutely terrifying. Do not ride right along somebody. Because all I could think is, oh, this 2-ton car is going to crush me.
Yeah, whenever I'm driving and I see people on bikes, I swerve into the next lane to get around them to make sure they have space.
It's supposed to be 3 feet. You're supposed to give bicyclists 3 feet. But I might be a bit of a smartass, so she would not leave. She would not just continue on. So I looked at her, and she had her window open, and I said, "Bitch, drive."
Yeah,
and that was her decision.
I would ride bikes more.
911.
I would ride them more if I lived someplace where it wasn't snow most of the year.
They make great bikes. Look up fat bikes. Great bikes for the snow.
Yeah, I've seen some of them. I live where it's not feasible to ride a bike year round. I'm better off just getting into cross-country skiing at some point.
I can tell you that there are bike commuters in Minnesota who do it year-round, because I have seen our bike commuting. However, I think they're insane.
I think they're down south in the state, farther south in the state than
Well,
I
no,
am.
there's actually a lake in, I think it's in Michigan, so pretty far north that freezes over that they make into a road and a bike path during the winter. And somebody posted they have studded tires. They make bikes for fucking everything. They have studded tires that can ride on ice.
Huh.
I have a road bike and wrecked on it. My commuter bike is also a road bike, and I wrecked on it on snow and ice this winter.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We got a couple more questions. Hey, our lovely co-host Ari, who's not here tonight, wants to know on a scale of 1 to Blake, how bad did she Blake it up?
11.
11.
10 is not high enough.
And Aisha, who's also not here tonight, how should she bury the router her roommate stabbed?
Wait, what?
Light it on fire. And toss it out of the high-rise window. See what happens.
All right. And why is New York pizza so much better than Chicago, LA, or St. Louis pizza? It's pizza. Pizza's good, no matter what kind of pizza it is. All pizza is created equal and tasty.
I like it when it seems cooked as well.
Yes.
Like as when it's flatter, the dough is thinner, it seems more cooked.
I don't know. I've never experienced true Chicago pizza. Or LA pizza. LA has a pizza? I don't...
Wait, do you? It's not gluten-free or anything?
But I do love New York pizza. I love the floppiness of it. I will hopefully be having some in a month. I don't know. I'll try it when I go to Chicago at the end of the month. I will try it. I have not found a pizza I don't like, so I'll probably like it too.
All right. And RA said, remember that one time Brian Giunta scored 48 goals?
That didn't happen. It was a figment of your imagination.
Magic. So let's go into a couple of other things. So this past week was the combine, the draft combine, and it came out that one of the top-ranked players could not do a pull-up. Sam Bennett could not do a single pull-up while there.
I can't do one either, but then
What
position
does he play?
He is a forward. He is a center.
Yeah, see, I'm not as concerned. If he was a defenseman and I needed him to be checking people, I think it's odd that he can't do a pull-up. I think it might have been the exhaustion at the end of the day. But if you're basing a player's worth solely on whether or not he can do a pull-up, you're probably not a very good scout.
Are they that important? I know they do it for like army stuff, military stuff, but
they run a bunch of different tests. I did some looking it up, and I don't have the link offhand, but it was the official NHL website. All of the results of the different tests they did, not one player ranked in the top 3 for for the prospects scored number 1 in any of them. The Aaron Ekblad scored number 2 in one of the events, but nobody was top of the event.
I do have to say something about the combine thing.
Yeah.
How they released the pictures of Ekblad, I had no idea he was that attractive. That's my one comment, because I really don't understand.
You have no idea what?
Damn, he's 18? Damn.
Oh, God, I'm going to have to go Google a picture of him, aren't I?
Aaron Ekblad, yes. He
looks old for 18. Maybe it's just because they have so much muscle and testosterone within the veins.
Yes, I feel like that's it. It's a sad day when you can't look at the incoming prospects and think, yeah, he saw it without feeling like, oh God, I'm old.
pretty much, but
Yeah, he does not look 18.
I think for when it comes to the not being able to do a pull-up, as long as he can still score 50 goals a year, has great hockey sense, can win face-offs, I don't give a shit if he can do a pull-up or not.
50 goals a year, we are ambitious, aren't we?
Sam Bennett, yeah, he did.
He's not really projected to do 50 goals a year, is he?
I think he did get that in the CHL. Let me double check.
Well, I mean, it's a difference coming from the CHL to the NHL. I mean, Ovechkin did it, and he didn't even do it with any playoffs in it.
Well, Sam Bennett himself said in an interview afterwards, I was definitely disappointed with myself. I was wanting to do the best I can in every test, but I guess ultimately games aren't won or lost if you can do a pull-up in the gym.
He's right.
I mean, it's...
Again, he's not like a hard checking defenseman. Like, he doesn't need tons of upper body strength. And I would imagine that if you got him fresh and said, hey man, do a pull up, he could do one.
Yeah. For the regular season for the OHL team last year, he played 57 games, had 36 goals, 55 assists, 91 points. How that transfers, who knows, but I'd much rather have him be able to score than anything.
Do we want to talk about Vanek?
You know what I can just say, and I this is my little thing. I think it's the Austrian coming out. Does that sound weird?
A little bit, but
I mean, it's just from the Austrians I lived around. They were very. I don't know if it's kind of like a lost in translation type thing, but they can be very upfront and things like that.
Well,
and I feel like there's some things he said that he could say better without coming off the way he did. I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah. I think the comments he made were very, very much the case. He had been bounced around 3 teams in 1 year, so obviously his chemistry's not 100%.
Can we just read real quick what he said?
All right, I will read the long paragraph. I'm a big believer in chemistry. I started in Buffalo, and I went to the island where I got comfortable with Johnny and Okposo, and our line took off, and then your games take off. When I first got here, I struggled a bit, and then I got moved to Davey and Patch's line. And I think as a line, we were great, one of the best lines. Then I got taken off, and I struggled to find myself with a new line. I played with Puckin for most of the playoffs, and it didn't work. We are, I believe, both good players, but it didn't work. We're not on the same page, just different games.
I understand why you wouldn't want a player to say that to the media. However, he's right. Like,
yeah, he's...
It's hard. You try adjusting to 3 different styles of play in a year. It's not easy, and Habs fans seems to be putting so much of their loss on Vanek. If your playoff hopes depended on one player playing well, you didn't have a lot of playoff hopes.
No.
But, I mean, that shouldn't be surprising that they're doing that.
No. And the other thing is there's a few things at work with his situation. All the depth charts and all the games, he was being played as a right winger. His entire career, and I say this because I've watched his entire career, he's a left winger. You can't take somebody, stick them on the off wing, and expect them to produce as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not an NHL player. I've never played hockey. Well, I mean, except inline hockey on streets. But I guess the only thing I can compare it to is, like, playing soccer. You know? Being changed forwards, like, from one side to the other. It would mess me up.
Yeah. That, and they were giving him about 12 minutes of ice time average a game.
Yeah. I don't, like... At some point, it is the coach's fault. If you're not playing your players on their best point, and you can't just say, well, we put you there, so you need to produce there like you were in your other teams at your proper position.
There's so many variables that you can't just remove one person with different variables and expect the same results or better results.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it happens with everything.
And to put things into just a frame of reference, he was playing average of 12 minutes a game. During the season, the Sabres were playing John Scott about 10 minutes a game. So Vanek's not going to do a lot in a little bit of time.
Yeah, and that's another thing where you let him get in the rhythm of a game. Jeez.
Well, there were times that he scored. What is it? That hat trick, and they were he was scoring, and they were like, "Oh, praise Vanek," woohoo! And then if he had a bad game, it was all like, "Ooh, boo Vanek." So it was almost they were very indecisive of how they wanted to view him. And now since they're out of the playoffs, I feel like there's a lot of blame going around.
Yeah, I feel like these comments might be a sign that he's not going back to Montreal.
Probably not. It still points to him going to Minnesota, and he has come out and said he will take a discount to go to whichever team he wants.
Yeah.
Which
Can
leads
we
me to
stop
believe he'll go
sending the
home.
really good players to the Central Division, please, unless they're coming to Dallas? This is getting ridiculous.
Well, it's him going to Minnesota is him going home. It's the best he's going to get to going home besides going back to Austria itself.
Yeah.
Isn't he from around Vienna? Because Minnesota is nothing like Vienna.
He is from there, but when he was younger, his family moved to Minnesota so he could play hockey.
Oh, okay.
He played for the University of Minnesota. Lives there in the off season. His wife is from the area. His best friend's now there. It just makes so much sense.
That makes more sense. Because I was about to say, a lot of the population does not live in the Alps.
He could come to Dallas, and we play in Minnesota a lot. Just saying.
I just hope whichever team gets him uses him right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Josh has a question for us.
Oh, Lord.
Who would you say won his and Ari's Trash Talk Poetry Slam, and which was your favorite poem?
Well, neither of them are going to be poet laureates.
What are we talking about?
They went back and forth trash talking each other's teams, which is the Lightning and the Hawks, in poetry form. They were often not rhyming, and often not fitting into one tweet.
They weren't all that good.
Like watching who could wreck a car better, rather than who could write poetry better. But it was entertaining.
I thought, Josh, I will read one from Josh and one from Ari, just to be fair. And there was one from Dave, and there was some sprinkled in from others, but roses are red. This is a subtweet. As of last night, Wild and Hawks were beat. And Ari had followed up with, roses are red, I won't say too soon, because at least neither of us have a goddamn broom.
I did like the one about the broom. I did like that one.
So, yeah, the broom one was probably my favorite.
Well, so when did they do this?
This morning.
This morning?
Yes.
All
right, let's see. Do you have any other news?
The Predators signed Carter Hutton to a 2-year contract.
Isn't he a goalie?
For $1.4 million. Yes, he's technically their backup goalie, but he got obviously a lot of playing minutes when Tekka went down with when he had like E. coli or something. So he got a lot of minutes, and he kind of got better as the season went along. He really developed pretty well.
So,
good signing and a deal. I mean, $1.4 million, so not bad.
Another signing of a very different kind. Mikhail Grabowski signed with a soccer team for the summer.
What?
Hey, more power to him.
He's doing it just for the summer so he can stay in shape for hockey.
It's a good way.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't, tear an ACL.
Pretty much, but he signed with a soccer team in Minsk, Belarus. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and if it's gonna keep him active and in shape, then
Well, I mean, if you play a whole 90 minutes or whatever you do, that's pretty good endurance. I mean, that's essentially what you need for hockey. I mean, you can have big muscles and everything, but skating takes a lot out of you.
Yep.
So, it's like swimming. Swimmers are some of the best runners.
because I got such lower body strength. I used to swim a lot. Used to surf, so.
Should do that too. It's a good way of keeping out weight.
All right. So, any other news?
Well, David had texted me or tweeted he wanted a question answered.
Okay.
He said you missed it. It was bees.
Oh. Okay.
What does this mean?
I'll repeat what I said the other day. You know, frankly, Dave, I don't give a damn. After all, tomorrow is another day.
That works. All right. So going forward, we have. There's no game tomorrow night. There's no game tonight.
When is the first game? Is it
Wednesday?
Today's Monday. Okay.
It is. The first game is on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is on NBC. So if you have just a regular digital converter set up to a TV, you can get it. You don't have to have cable for it.
Woo! I don't have that either. But woo!
But it's more accessible for people to watch. So
it is. My TV is unfortunately 20 years old, and I don't have a converter box because when the converter boxes came out, I thought, God, who doesn't have a TV that's new enough to get the signal?
Up until I was about, I don't know, maybe 14, we had like one of those really old TVs at my parents' house. And I remember kids used to come over and be like, "What is that? Is that a piece of furniture?" And we're like, "No, that's a TV." Because it's one of those TVs that came with like the wooden box.
Yeah. I had that in college. In college, I had one of those, but it worked.
Yeah, they're awesome. I mean, they're really old school, but they're awesome.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. My parents are never allowed to not have cable, as I just use NBC Sports. If you have a cable subscription that gets the channel, you can stream it online. And
that's what you've been doing?
That's what I've been doing for years.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yep.
But yeah, that's for people who don't have cable, they can still watch the game if they have that. And there's a good chance your local bar will have it playing.
Or you can pretend like you're in France, like I am.
Yeah, so there's.
That's how I get my Game Center thing to work. I tell them I do a VPN from France. Apparently France doesn't like hockey because if I do Germany, Sweden, any of the northern countries, I can't watch it. But if I do France, it works. So, vive la France.
All right, so
Merci beaucoup.
I think.
Do you have any questions or anything like that, or are we wrapping this up?
I think we're gonna wrap this up. You're right up on an hour, but I can't think of anything except I want to see the Rangers win. So
we managed to squawk for an hour. I'm impressed. Because there was only 3 of us. Since Ari didn't come in. Thanks, Ari. God, Ari. You really blaked it up this time again.
We'll pretend we forgive her, but we really don't.
You know what? I could put Ari's face on one of the upvotes. Just to say
it's her
how she
fault the hot
blaked it up.
sauce.
Yeah. Blame Ari.
Next week's gonna be interesting. All right, so next game is on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yes, watch it. Tonight there'll be a after hours podcast about 11:30 midnight Eastern time. They're kind of iffy on when they start. You can check out all of the podcasts on the website ourhockeycast.com, and on the subreddit it's r/ourhockeycast, and so be sure to check that out. I'm Cassie. I am Abstract Halo on Twitter and on Reddit.
I'm Terry. I am T-Rex20 on Twitter and Reddit.
I'm Cora. I'm Lori Zod. Or on Twitter, I am Shades Are Off.
No. Thank you for tuning in.